Hello ladies, today we're going to talk through the psychology of weight release and why it's so hard for us to get to where we want to get to. Okay, we're going to go through what's actually happening to our body physically and then what impact that has on us psychologically. Okay, so first of all, hands up if you still want to achieve your long-term goal, hands up if you feel like you've learnt loads so far on the program, and hands up if you still feel like there's loads more to learn. Last two. Hands up if you still want to live that balanced lifestyle and get into the shape that you want to be, feeling confident. And finally, hands up if you felt like raiding the treat drawer over the last couple of days. I know I certainly have. In fact, I'm looking at it now. So, moving on, topics. We're going to whiz through each week. We're going to talk about what's actually happening to our body. So week 1 and week 2, we're highly motivated. We're really up for it. We give you loads to do in these first 2 weeks, and you guys have been awesome, absolutely smashed it. The reason that you do that is because you're so excited and so keen to get a result. If we gave you these later on, that it's highly unlikely that you do it because of the amount of commitment that it takes. But because we're so motivated and we're really keen to get to where we want to get to, we get it done, and you've been awesome in that. What happens often in week 1 and 2 is we get this big weight loss as well. The reason for that is the majority of it is going to be water weight. The reason for that is 50 to 60% of our total body is actually made up of water. This fluctuates quite greatly depending on the amount of salt, sugar and carbs in our diet. So for example, on a Sunday when we feel bloated and just have had too much to eat, and we just feel big and heavy, the reason that we feel like that is because of the excess salt, sugar and carbs and probably what we've had in the last couple of hours. And so for every excess amount of carbohydrate, every gram that our body doesn't need after that meal, it will store the rest away, and for each one that it stores 3 grams of water, and that's why we end up with this bloated feeling. You know, we've been nagging you about hitting your calorie targets and hitting your macronutrient targets. The reason for that is the order that our body finds energy in. Okay, that's why we've been nagging you on that. So if you haven't been eating enough, then our body will go and eat muscle for energy. As a result of it eating muscle for energy, our metabolism will decrease. So our body fat percentage will increase, our muscle mass percentage will decrease, and our metabolism will decrease. However, if you've been eating and hitting your calorie targets, hitting enough protein, what will happen is we'll get an increase in muscle mass percentage as we maintain the muscle, and a decrease in body fat percentage, which is where we're going to see the big shape changes. And as a result, we're going to get some awesome results, and our metabolism will improve, which will make it even easier for us in the future. Moving forward into week 3, we're still motivated. You've got weighed in, and you're starting to become really consistent in using the app and tracking your food. But then what happens is we step into week 4. Week 4 is scientifically proven to be the toughest week on any change in lifestyle, whatever that may be, food or job or anything. The reason for that is mentally, it's when we start to fatigue. Okay, when it comes to our weight loss, what is actually happening is our body is now starting to switch over energy sources, and it's now starting to just use fat for energy. And as a result, you'll start to feel some of these points below. You start to feel like, I can't do this, it's not worth it, and it's not right for me. It's also heavily dependent on results, and we're always going to want more. We've had women at the week 3 stage lose 12, 13, 14, even 15 pounds, and they still want more. And we've had women lose 1 or 2, but still catch up and sometimes even lose more than those that lost 13 or 14 pounds after 3 weeks. We're always going to want more no matter what, and we're all individuals, and we're all going to lose weight in a different speed at a different rate depending on what we do. And there's too many factors for us to even work out what way is going to go, but we're all individuals. So just keep pushing forward on your own individual journey with the support of all of those around us. But moving back to what is actually going on mentally in week 4 and why it's so hard. So starvation response is starting to kick in. So our body stores fat and keeps it there and holds on to it because it's scared that one day we're not going to have any food. Okay? And then what we've done is over the last 3 weeks you've started to eat really well. You've burnt off the excess water that our body doesn't need to be storing with the excess carbs that are just sort of quick fixes held on there. And now it's going into that real stubborn fat, the fat that we all came in here to get rid of, to change our shape, to drop weight. Okay, and this is called glucogenesis. Okay, so our body's now starting to burn that stubborn fat we want to get rid of. But to our brain, what that fat is it's a safety blanket. That safety blanket that sits there in case, for whatever reason, we don't get to eat for 3 days. And so if we want to take away that safety blanket, you know what it's like pulling it away from a kid. It's never going to happen without tears, without problems, without issues. And that's what our brain creates. It creates its own issues. So it says, I can't do this anymore, this isn't working for me, and I feel like I'm on my own doing this. When actually we're improving ourselves, we're moving forward towards a healthy, more sustainable lifestyle, which is going to enable us to do all the things that we couldn't do before with a load more confidence. Sarah here, one of her comments, she said this when we were talking about it the other week. She said, I feel depressed and alone. So she has a whole team around her getting ready for her fights, sorting her out and helping her in any way that they can, just like you have a whole group network of support around you, and yet she still feels depressed and alone at this stage, and that's purely because of her brain fighting back to try and hold on to that stubborn fat that she doesn't want to have during her fight, and that her brain just doesn't want to get rid of. And it's exactly the same for us. Our body doesn't want to get rid of it. It wants to keep hold of that security blanket, okay, and that's why it's telling us all of these things. If we can push through that, I can promise you it will get easier. We move into week 5 and week 6. It's the final push. Tracking the food has become easy. It's second nature. We're even starting to make smart choices when we go out for food and when we forget our lunch one day. And we're still listening and learning little bits and pieces as we go along from the app, from the group, and in training as well. So we then move into this really important study, which I'm sure we would have told you about before, but it's massively important. It's our biggest fear on this program. 70 to 80% of people that did this 2017 study actually weighed more than they did at the start of a 6 short-term program. So that's 6 weeks or less within 6 months of finishing the program. So 70 to 80% of people that completed a short-term program in 2017 actually weighed more at the end of it within 6 months than they did when they started it. The reason for this, they weren't educated properly, they didn't sustain what they were taught, and they weren't able to keep going and keep moving forward without the support. So what then happens is our body now, 5-6 weeks in, our sugar tolerance has massively improved. This is going to make it easier for everyone. I know it makes it easier for myself when I do this, because rather than me needing and being craving that ice cream or chocolate at the end of each day, as a result my body doesn't crave it as much. And also when I do crave it, or when I feel like, right, I'm going to have a bit, I'll go, rather than going and needing a whole pot of Ben & Jerry's to satisfy myself, suddenly a quarter of a pot, even half a pot, is more than enough, and I start to feel sick, to be honest, after it. Okay, so our sugar tolerance and what we need to satisfy ourselves massively improves. You'll also start to learn about playing the game, and you would have watched videos on that towards the end of the program where Ben starts to teach you about how we can adjust this lifestyle, this diet, this way that we're eating around our normal day-to-day life, and why we want to still fit those things like ice cream and nights out with friends and family or wedding events around our current lifestyle without blowing everything up and just giving it all in again and just having little blips and carrying on and keep moving forward and still progressing every week. And also, by the end of the program, you're halfway through as well, reaching 12 weeks. So at 12 weeks, it's scientifically proven if you can sustain something for 12 weeks, the brain will take it on as a natural habit and you won't even need to think about it anymore. Okay, so it'll just naturally happen without you even thinking. Closing points, as I said at the start, it's not all about willpower. If it is about willpower, everyone could do it and it would just happen. It's not. Over the years, you're going to be taught hundreds of thousands, told loads of different stuff about try this, try that, and I wish it was, but it's just not as simple as eat this and don't eat that. Okay, so we get down to that last point at the bottom, and this is something that we sort of rely on and use most days down at Fit for Life, and we try to understand this and apply it to everything we do. We understand that we are complex beings in a full tilt world. We understand that there's loads going on outside of our little space where we work with you. We understand that there's things, great stuff and not so great stuff, that's going to come up and get in the way. And for us, we understand that we need to be compassionate and support you and help you in any way that we can around your thoughts, feelings and beliefs. Okay, and that's what this is all based on. This is called flexible dieting, what we do and what we're teaching you. It's all based around going out and having some fun and doing different bits and pieces, but overall we want you to sustain this lifestyle moving forward, okay, to get you to that healthier place, so you know where you're at, you're confident, you're able to do whatever you want when you want, and your health has drastically improved. Okay, so hopefully that has explained a little bit more about what's going on physically and what impact that has on you psychologically. And as always, any problems, any questions, give us a shout on the Facebook group or hit us up on Instagram and we will speak to you soon. See you soon, ladies.